Hey guys, we're back. Part 2 of this chapter, talking about the loans. All right, we're going to go into conventional, VA, and all that. Probably still today. We'll see how it goes. I don't have any questions here, so I guess you guys understood everything from before. About the adjustable rate mortgages, we're 100% on that. Is that it? Any questions? Yes, no, maybe? All right, so if no questions, we're going to move forward. And we're going to talk about interest. We talked about it a little bit before in the previous session, right? And we said that interest was a charge for the use of someone else's money, right? We already know that the interest is based on the unpaid balance. So we divide that figure over several years. Oh, sorry. There you go. We divide that figure over several years, and it's for the unpaid balance. So whatever is left behind is what you pay in interest. We know this, right? Yes? Okay. Now, this could be an actual question in the state exam, guys. Let's say, and they'll present it this way. It says on an amortized loan of $100,000 for 30 years, at an annual interest rate of 7% and monthly payments of $665.31, and it would stop right here. Then the question would be, for instance, the question would be, what would be the annual interest? If the question is, what would be the annual interest, then the step is very simple. We have $100,000, right, which is what the principal is according to the question. We have 7%, which is what the interest rate is according to the question, right? What do we have to do? Well, multiply it, and we know that the interest, the annual interest, is $7,000. That one's easy. It's the easiest one we can get. How do you figure out the annual interest? It's principal times interest. We're done. If the question says, so the step number 2, they ask you, what is the first month's interest? Well, the only thing we have to do is divide it by 12, right? Annual interest is $7,000 divided by 12. The first month's interest is $583.33. If they ask you guys, what is the balance? I mean, how much of this payment went towards principal? Easy. We already know that the monthly payment is $665.31. We just figure out the interest of $583.33. Then your first month's payment out of $665.31, $81.97 went towards the principal. Not bad, right? You pay $665, $82 to go towards the principal. Not bad at all. If your question was, so as you guys can tell, what I'm trying to show you is one question, 4 different variables, right? So same information, 4 different variables of the question. If your question was, and this was on my state exam years ago, what is the balance on the loan after the first month's payment? You would have to calculate steps 1, 2, 3. And now that you figure out that $82 is how much goes to principal, well, it's step 4. You borrowed $100,000, right? Minus the $82. What is the balance of the loan? $99,918.03. Okay? So 4 steps. The question in the state exam could have been for any of these steps, like what is the annual interest? What is the first month's interest? Or what is how much went to principal? And number 4, what is the principal balance? Okay, 4 steps. That's why I have it all in yellow, because it could be an actual question similar to this. Any questions, guys? Throw questions in the chat if you have. Mauricio says he has a question. Go. Even put his hat to the side so he can type faster. where did they get the monthly payment due? What, the 665.31? All right, so in this particular question, guys, in the particular question, they actually gave it to you. But I'm going to show you how to calculate it also in a little bit. But in this question, let me show you back here, right here. The question was, you have a $100,000 loan for 30 years at 7%. Boom, right there. And then they told you, in this scenario, they told you, I'm going to show you how to calculate this, but they told you that the monthly payments, right here, the monthly payments are $665.31. So in this particular question, they provided you with all the information because their concern is not how much is the monthly payment. Their concern was one of these four. So in the question, you had the payment. Good. If you go to the table in the next page, now we figure out how to get to the 665.31. So in this particular question, all the info was given. Now I'm going to show you how to figure it out yourself. It is complicated, like Tiny just wrote, it is complicated, but I'm going to simplify it for you right now. First of all, the table says, and you need to pay attention to this, that whatever's on this table is the monthly payment. And whatever's on this table is per $1,000. Okay? So this is something you got to take a note of. This table, table 14.2 on page 196. Table 14.2 on page 196. And this is going to be given to you in the state exam as well. There is a question in the school exam. If it pops up in your exam, I included the chart. So it's there as well. Don't worry. Ready? All right, so here we go. This is the chart, so you guys see. And on top it has rate. So this column is solely for rate. It has the term, which could be 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, or 30 years, right? So on top, it shows you the amount of years, okay? And then if you look at 3% as the rate for 10 years, the number you need to amortize is 9.65. If it's for 15 years, is 6.9. If it's for 20 years, is 554, 474, 421, and so far. What I want to show you guys, if you don't know how to use the chart, is to the left, you can practice by following these steps. How to use this chart. Ready? To use this chart, we start by finding the appropriate interest rate, so the column with the interest. Then we go and follow that row over to the term. So in the example before, we had $100,000 at 7%. So all we needed to do is go to the 7%, forget the 100,000 for a second, will be 7%, and then the 30 years. That's what we would do. All right? The number is the payment required each month to amortize the loan. Now to calculate the principal and interest payment, we multiply the payment by the number of thousands. This is what I want to show you. I told you that this chart is per every $1,000, correct? Okay. So here's an example. If the interest rate is 8% for a term of 30 years, the payment is 7.34. Let me show you. We're going to go to the column. Right there. 8%. Right? And it's for 30 years. So let's go over 30 years. You guys should use your finger when you have the chart. This is the 30 years. And it's 7.34. The same thing we have in the example, right? So this is the 30 years. So we're going to go back. and the loan is $100,000. How many how many thousands, because it's per thousand, right? It's per thousands. How many thousands do we have in 100,000? Well, you divide by 100 and we have 100 thousands. So this is the number we use to multiply. It's the 100 times the 7.34. So the 7.34 is the number we need to amortize the loan according to the chart, right? So what is your monthly payment? 734, and this is monthly principal plus interest only. Okay? So this is how you calculate what is the monthly payments every month for the next 30 years. If it's a fixed rate, if it's an adjustable rate, this does not apply. Okay? The good news, guys, is that you don't need to figure out how to calculate adjustable rates. There are mortgage calculators. The bad thing is that in the school exam and state exam, you cannot use Google, you cannot use a scientific calculator, and you cannot use a mortgage calculator. So when you go actually take the state exam, you cannot use anything like that, only a plain old simple calculator. The simplest calculator you can find. Some places provide it to you, some places you can bring your own, right? And this chart is always given to you in the exam. So you have to learn how to use it. Very, very important. How to use this chart. Questions? We're going to do quick practice. Any questions? No questions? All right. So here's what we're going to do. Everybody has the book, right? Everybody should have the book by now. So here's a question. We have a loan of $475,000. Okay? $475,000. The interest rate is 6.25%. For 25 years is the term. What is the monthly principal and interest? All right, so this is my question. Very simple. Go back to that chart real quick and figure out what is the monthly principal interest for a $475,000 loan at 6.25% for 25 years. Mauricio, easy. Take it easy, man. Too fast, too furious. Go to the chat. Actually, I'll leave this up for you guys. Just put in the chat whenever you're ready. Do not assume or presume that any answer is correct, okay? I'm not saying that they're incorrect in the chat. If you're looking at the chat, I'm not saying they're incorrect. I'm just saying do your work and make mistakes if you have to. That's why we're here right now. $475,000 loan, 6.25%, so 6.25% interest rate for 25 years. What is term? What is a monthly principal interest? As you guys are doing that, is my microphone still clicking, still doing the noise, or no? No? It was probably internet or anything like that, I don't know. Jeff, no. Not dividing by 12 because that's already the monthly payment. Jonathan says it sometimes it clicks. And Maria says, yep, and some lags. That's your internet, not mine. Just gave me the look like. Okay. So Jeff, your mistake is forgetting that this chart is already monthly. So whatever number you got was monthly already. But I would love to have that mortgage payment, the 261, Jeff, on a $475,000 loan. Hell yeah. All day long. Right? Did everybody put the answer? I don't think so. 36 people. See what we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 13. Come on. 36 people. I only got 13 answers. Work it. $475,000 loan. 6 and a quarter. 25 years. $16. You get additional hours. Hi. Heidi says, system took me out. I'm lost. Sorry. I'll explain again in a second. So Heidi, just write this down, and I'll explain in a second because I'm gonna go over this. All right, we've got 20 more people to go. Why are you guys not answering? Did everybody get kicked out of the Zoom? That's what it was? All right. A few more seconds. All right. We got a different number from everybody else. Make sure you use a very simple calculator. Okay. All right, Shirley, something is wrong there. Figure out in a second what it is. Shirley Elmore, okay, not Shirley Resende. Lita got 4,057. Brian, 1,682. Michelle copied Brian. What else? Michelle and Brian, you guys should be in separate rooms. Saying no, you didn't. He's the one that copied for me. Of course, I already predicted that answer coming through. I know Brian, so probably yes. All right. So we're gonna move forward. Let me show you guys. Pay attention. It's 400. Your Honor, she's lying. $475,000. 6 and a quarter interest. 25 years. Let's go. So. Out of here. Copy me. All right, so what I want you guys to remember, so those of you that had really big numbers, I want you to remember this. Whatever's on this chart, what the number that comes out of this chart is going to be your monthly payment. Right there, monthly payments. The other thing I want you to pay attention to is that it's per thousand. So at one point you have to divide by 1,000. Okay? So I told you in this example that it was 6 1/4, the interest rate, right? So we find that the interest rate is the very first column. We're going to go all the way to 6 1/4. Here it is. Okay? So the next thing we're going to do, Ria, why do you have fingers in your camera? That's messed up. All right, the next thing you're going to do is we're going to go all the way to the right to the column that says 25 years. So we're going to scroll and match this somewhere here, right? And that's 660. Did everybody get to 6.60? For your numbers to be a little off, Bria, you don't have to apologize. I'm always messing with somebody. I just saw fingers there and I had to say something. The people around me usually complain that I don't shut up, so sorry. That's me. I like to pick on people. It's because my partner is always picking on me, so I have to pick on everybody else. So, 660. Did everybody get, is there anybody that did not get this number? 6.60. Write it down if you did not get this number, 6.60. This is the number needed to amortize a loan for 25 years at a 6 1/4 interest. Okay, this is key. You need to get to this number. So when we go here, the 6 1/4 for 25 years equals 6.60. And we're going to leave it right there. So we have to do this in stages. We're going to leave it right there, okay? The next thing you know from this chart is that it's per thousands. So the loan, we need to divide by 1,000. How many thousands do we have in 475,000? Right? We have 475, right? So now that we reach 475, what do we have to do? Multiply these numbers. I'll do it here. So 475 times 6.60, and that equals, right? I was trusting you guys, so I did not do my math. And 475 times 6.60, and that is 3,135, and this is your monthly PI, principal and interest. Okay, so this is the answer. So those of you that got big numbers, you either forgot to divide by 1,000, or instead of 6.60, you put 660 or something like that, okay? So make sure you got all the steps. Step 1 is figuring out this number right here. Step 1. Step 2, figuring out how many thousands we have. We multiply these two numbers, and the answer is 3,135. It's as simple as this. Okay? Now, can you tell me, guys, whoever had this wrong, can you tell me in the chat what was your mistake? Whoever did not get 3,135, tell me your mistake so we can see how. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. We're learning, so there's nothing wrong. Just put it out there. Don't be afraid of saying. I mean, I already know what Michelle said. Brian just copied. So that's the problem with copying people, you know. If they have it wrong, then you copy it wrong too. That's why you shouldn't cheat, just saying. And by the way, Brian, just want to let you know, I'm going to roast you for a second. When you go to the state exam, you guys are going to be in separate, like you're not sitting next to each other. You're going to be in separate computers, so far away from each other. So getting up and going there to see the answer is not going to help. Yeah, we both did our math wrong. You just copied. Just be honest. Seriously. All right. Let's see what we got. Okay, Connie, did not divide. What doing? Did not divide by 1,000. Okay. Michelle says everything was wrong, but I got it now. Okay. Lita, why do we have to divide by 1,000? Because the chart is per thousands. That's what I was showing you here. The chart was this number, so you don't have to calculate it yourself. They already pre-calculated how much you need per every $1,000. So it says right here that this chart is the amount needed to amortize a loan of $1,000. So it's per thousands. What else? So if you don't have the chart, how can you calculate it in the exam? Don't worry, they'll give you the chart. For the exam, Tidy, they're going to give you the chart. So don't worry about it again. Jeff, I know you messed up about the monthly. Brian and both, yeah, okay. I'm going to believe you. Tidy, it's the 6.60. You had it wrong. Okay, so you did not reach the 6.60. But now you got it, right? Let me know. Mauricio, based on the chart, it's per every 1,000. Okay, you got it. Courtney says, I did 30 at first. Okay, so you had the wrong column. Okay. Got to make sure your index finger works. It's very, very important that your index finger works, that it can go over everything. What else? Got it now. Do another. I will do another real quick. Ria, that was my question too. It's always going to be divided by 1,000. Absolutely. All right. Always. This chart is per 1,000. It's monthly. Whatever comes out of it, it's monthly already. You guys ready for another challenge? Real quick? Great. And just clear all this because otherwise it's going to be a mess. Okay. So we got this. We're going to do another one. All right. So now we have a loan, 525,500. This is the loan. The term is 30 years. And the interest rate is 5 and 3, so 5.75%. That's the interest rate. And go. Maria, come on. Let me finish the question at least. Already putting in answers. I cannot see the chart right now, so I don't know if it's correct or if it's incorrect. I'll do it as I go with you, okay? So whatever answers you guys giving, don't know if it's correct or incorrect. Maria needs that. Come on, you've been asking extra hours, extra credit, all this stuff, right? No. Sorry, Maria. Not happening. But thank you for the speedy answer. Josiel, you need the chart you cannot see? You don't have it? Okay, so I'll put the chart for you. Wow, I like that, Maria. No is just a future yes. Powerful. Right. Probably been going to the same trainings that I went to. Just be careful, because sometimes no is no. Might not be a future yes. Yes could be harassment. Don't explain the whole process, Leslie. I appreciate it though. All right. See how many answers I got here. 1, 4, 7, 18. All right, there's 35 people on the line. I got 18 answers. 19 answers. Come on. 2. I have a lot of people on the line. Just yell. You think you're wrong just because everybody else has something different? You might be, you might not be. Don't ever follow a crowd. Come on. Be a leader. We'll change the whole math just for you. That's it. Sarah just wrote Y. I don't know why you're putting an answer with a Y. I'm not. All right. Leader of being wrong. Hey, I could make a lot of comments on being a leader of being wrong, but I'm going to keep this separate from politics. What else? Okay, almost there. A few more. Most. Raise your hand if I don't have your answer here yet. If you haven't answered yet, raise your hand. Go ahead. It's out of your fun. He puts answers, goes why, has like an answer and like maybe. I don't know. Maybe. Around in a second. You guys can see on your end the answers coming through, right? Yeah. Because remember, what you see is different than what I see as a host. What else? What you got? Got a few people missing. What you got? For the answers. And if you're writing on a piece of paper, make sure you are writing on a piece of paper because I'm going to add to this question. I'm going to show you a variable of this question right after. Whatever your answers were, put on a piece of paper. If you don't have a notebook, the end of your book, if you have the physical one, there's blank pages called notes. Okay? If you have a notebook, use it. Sarah Jasiel agrees with you. That's another of the answers I have. Like the cool thing about math is that there's always a lot of ways to get to the same answer or to different answers. All right, Connie answered. Connie, it sounds like you just rounded up. Let's see. Maybe, maybe not. That's what it is? Okay. All right. Not always good, but we'll see. We'll see. Shirley Elmore also rounded up. Okay. Is there anybody that did not submit yet? Raise your hand if you did not submit your answer yet. All right, cool. So we're going to move forward. Figure out the answers. So my question was 525,500, right? 30 years at 5.75%. So the first step I told you guys to do was figure out these two. This is the first step because the top one is easy, right? So we're going to go to the chart and I put 5.75%. In the chart, we're looking at 5 3/4. So this is the one we need, 5 3/4. Okay, got it. So 5 3/4, and I said for 30 years. So this is the last column. Missing Yara. Okay, Yara, I got your answer. Perfect. Go all the way to the right, and this is the 30 years. 5.84. That's the 30-year mark because here the column is 30 years, right? So I'm going to scroll down. And this is where they meet. 5.84. That's the number. Okay? Go here. 5.84. Now, let me show you again. This chart is per every $1,000. And the result of this amount is the monthly. Okay? Don't worry, I'm not going to start drawing a car or put eyes over here. Don't worry. Okay? But if it's per every $1,000, what do we have to do? We have to divide this amount by $1,000. And that tells me 525.5. We good so far? Okay. Going slow to make sure it matches what you guys are doing. So 525.5 and 5.84 is the number we needed. What we're going to do now is multiply these two. 525 times 5.84 equals 3,068.92. So, Connie and Shirley Elmore, before you round anything, make sure the question asks you to round to the nearest dollar. If they don't, always keep it in its integrity, the way it is. Okay, because this will be the correct answer. But you'll see from the answers, you'll see that this is the answer anyway. Okay? So, those of you that did not get this number, did you see where you were wrong? Let me know in the chat if you saw why you were wrong. Let me know in the chat the difference between our calculations and your calculations. Again, if you had it wrong, don't feel bad. Just make sure you understand what it was. Sarah, you did the same thing as somebody else did before. Wrong column. Yep. I like the way, by the way, did you guys notice? I love this bold statement. She did not say, I didn't read. She says, I don't read. All right? One thing is saying, hey, happens, I didn't read. The other thing is saying, I don't read. Like, listen, doesn't matter. You can put it in front of me. I will not read it. I'll just go with my gut feeling and that's it. And that's why she always writes to kill and stuff like that, right? Terrible. Jeff, 5 3/4 is the same as 5.75, which is the same as 5 and, okay, got it. Look at it as 75 divided by 100. You're getting too technical, my man. We're good. Yes, yes, and yes. Brian, my first answer was wrong because I put 7.84 instead of 5.84. So Brian doesn't read what he writes either. So one person does not read the column, the other person does not read what he writes. Yep, it happens. I hit the wrong key. There you go. My point here is not to point out what you had wrong and shame you. It has nothing to do with that at all. It's actually pointing out that everybody makes similar mistakes. Not reading happens. I've showed you this over and over and over again. Typing the wrong key, Brian, you know what? A lot of people do that. I make that mistake myself. That's why we do the math over and over again. In this scenario, it's difficult for you to know if you're right or wrong because we don't have a set of 4 answers. If you had a set of 4 answers, you would notice that your answer does not match any of the 4. So Brian, it would have been easy for you to go back and see, okay, I did something wrong. What was it, right? So you'd be able to correct right away. You guys understand what I'm saying? The point here is really for us to get ready to what the exam actually is. And the exam is mistakes. That's the bottom line. The exam is mistakes you made. Okay? So I'm trying to prevent those mistakes before you get there. All right. Did everybody get it? Got it? You had it correct or you had it incorrect? You got it now? Okay, great. Lida, did you have it right? Okay, good. I already addressed the rounding of the numbers. You want me to show you how I chose the 5.84? Is that it? Cecile? Yes? How did I get to 5.84? Because I said in the question, I said it was 30 years at 5.75. Okay? So like Jeff was showing you, 5.75, right? If we're thinking about 100%, there's 25, 25, 25, 25. So every 25, that's why I did it different than what I did up here. Here I showed you 6. Oh, hold on, I'm not showing you anything. Okay, so here I wrote 6 1/4 in the first example. So when you look at the chart, it's easy to identify, right? What I did now, you see how I'm always giving you variables? In this one, I put 5.75. There's 4 25s in 100, right? So if it's 475, right? There's 1, 2, 3, but we don't have the 4th one. You got it? So this is the same as 5 3/4 or 5 3/4. You got it? Because you have 3 out of the 4 quarters that make 100%. You got it? Dimitar, was that your mistake? Oh, don't go like that. Like, please, I'll never make that mistake. You saw his face? Like, I would never make that mistake. Come on. All right, but anyway, so Jessiel, did you get it before I move forward? All right, so you got 3 out of the 4 quarters. You didn't do any face? Should we roll back the tape? It was a foul, I tell you. It was a foul. Okay, not about that, but you did do a face. You just sound like my daughter. My daughter, Kayleen, is exactly like that. I tell her, you just did this. No. Like, yeah, you did. But it was not about that. Okay, but you did it. That was a point. You did it. Anyway. All right, so 5 3/4. Then we went to the chart. We looked at 5 3/4. That's what I found. And from there on, you're good, Jessiel? Okay, perfect. All right, so we're going to add stuff to the question. You guys ready? So we were able to figure out the monthly PI. What about if I want to include taxes and insurance? Let's say the question The question was, $525,000, 500, right? 30-year term, 5.75% interest. And then we have $12,000 per year. These are your taxes, right? And $1,200 a year insurance. The question now becomes, what is your monthly PITI, which is principal, taxes, and insurance? So the question is the same. I'm just adding, okay? Easy, Tiger. Easy. You're already giving answers. Relax. Getting there. Give them some time. All right, guys. So we already figured out what is the PI. You just need to figure out what's the TI, which is taxes and insurance. Good luck. Go ahead. You already have one number. You just need to get to the other. You guys are too fast. Good save, Mauricio. Good save. Taxes are $12,000 a year. Insurance is $1,200 a year. What is the monthly PITI? So the thing that you should do first is look at what they're asking right away. And they're asking for monthly, right? So if your figures given are yearly, what is the first thing you have to do? Think about it, okay? Maria thought I was going to ask about the remaining debt of the first months. I could. Actually, not a bad idea. Maybe I will. I don't want to complicate your life. Not right now. I want to make it as simple as possible so we can end this day the easiest and smoothest way possible. All right, we're getting some answers through. That's why I told you to write everything down on a piece of paper. It's easier to just move on to this next part. So stage 2 of the question. And so you guys know why I do it like this, because that's what you have to do in the state exam. Break down the questions. So there's part 1, part 2, and part 3 sometimes to a question. You have to break it down. So the first thing we did was figure out how much was the monthly payment based on this term and interest, right? Now we're going to add the taxes and insurance to it. Ria looks like she's about to lose her head. What is this? Dimitar just ran away. Did I make too much fun of him? I mean, I was just messing with him. I have to run. All right, good save, Jessiela, good save. What else we got? They'll already learn how to not let Brian cheat. Good. Jeff, pay attention. All I gotta say. Dimitar is back. Mauricio is gone. Are you taking turns? Is that what it is? Jeff, if you missed something, maybe. Or maybe you added something, or maybe you made the same mistake that Mauricio did right at the beginning. Then he corrected. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not going to tell you yet what your mistake is. Well, you type 1300. Yeah. Jeff is just trying to figure out what he did wrong. Gotcha. All right, guys, you ready? Ready to go over this? There you go. If they're asking you for monthly and the figures given are yearly, the first thing you have to do is to divide by 12. So the taxes now become $1,000 per month and the insurance $100 per month. Okay? That's it. That's all you needed to do to figure out TI, tax and insurance. You already have a figure of $3,068.92. So all you have to do now is add taxes, add insurance. Because this is PI, so now you have $4,168.92, and this is PI, TI. It was as simple as that. Get out of the way so you can see it. It was as simple as that. If they give you a figure that's yearly, you divide by 12, and then you add that to your principal and interest. And in the state exam, again, is what you have to do. The first thing is trying to figure out this, which is the PI, principal and interest, and that you need to use the chart. Then you need to figure out the taxes and figure out insurance based on numbers given to you. Okay? So, Jeff, go ahead. Tell me, what was wrong? What did you do wrong? Early, Elmore, you asked, how did you get $100 on the insurance? Because it's $1,200. 1,200 divided by 12, each month is $100. Jeff, that's not an excuse. Not an excuse. Not an excuse. All right? I told you guys to pay attention. So if it's distractions, right, then you need to eliminate this. Wait. When I say eliminate, you know what I'm talking about. Like reduce the amount of distractions. Don't go eliminating people or children. Okay? All right. Shirley, did you get it? Shirley Elmore? Yeah, okay. Ah, we got a Ninja Turtle. Donatello? No, which one is that? Sorry. Michelangelo? Ralph. Michelangelo is the coolest one. Hi, Ralph. He's back. Where are your weapons? You have the weapons? That's a staff, no? What is that? I cannot see it. Jeff, no, don't go and say that I said to eliminate the kids. Don't do that. Anyway. All right, so is there anybody that did not get it yet? Let me know in the chat if you did not get it. If there's anything you want me to clarify. And I'm sorry, I did say for some of you, some chapters are going to be lengthy because I have to take my time explaining to everybody. But in other chapters, they might catch it way faster than you do. So I apologize, trying to cater to everybody here. For questions? All right, so let's go back to the book. And here's the other thing that a lot of people get confused about. Points. I want you to write points equal 1% of loan amount, not purchase price. Okay? So every time you see 1 point, it equals 1% of the loan amount, not the purchase price. Try to make it as clear as possible, even though you guys are going to forget this later. So make sure you do take notes, because it's 1% of the loan amount, not the purchase price. A question in the exam will show you a $100,000 purchase with 95% LTV and 2 points as an example, right? If it's 95% LTV, what is the loan amount? It's $95,000. 2 points would mean 2% of the 95, not of the 100,000. Okay, so never use it based on purchase price. Sure, take notes of that. So when a new mortgage is placed, the lending institution may compensate for an interest rate below the current true cost of money by asking for an extra prepaid interest in the form of upfront points. I'll explain that in a second. These are also called discount points. And right here, each point is 1% of the new loan. If it's an $80,000 loan, each point would be $800. If it's 2 points, then the total will be $1,600. So a point equals 1%. 1 point equals 1% of loan amount, not the purchase price. I cannot stress that enough. That's one of the mistakes that is made in the school and state exam. Got it? So why do we pay points? First of all, it's a one-time thing. Okay? It's a one-time thing. They charge upfront at closing points if you want. Okay? Why would we want to pay points? Let's say, and you guys already know how to calculate this, right? So let's say that the rate was 6 1/4 for 30 years. And the bank tells you, hey, you know what? If you pay me 2 points up front, I'll reduce from 6 1/4, right, to 6%. And you're thinking, well, why would I reduce just a quarter? See, what you reduced was 1/4% for 30 years. So you paid 2 points up front for 30 years. So let's look at it. If I borrowed $300,000, this is the loan amount, right? And if you guys go to the chart, you don't have to go right now, but if you go to the chart, you're going to see the difference between 1/4%. So if they're asking you for 2 points, right? So 2 points, right? How much is it? That means you're paying up front 2 points, $6,000 in points. I'm sorry. Okay, so $6,000 in points up front, right? 0.25% could mean, I'm not doing the calculation, you guys don't have to do it right now, but it could mean a difference of $50 a month, okay, as an example. In a 30-year loan, $50, in a 30-year loan, we're looking at 360 payments. And if you did, I'm not saying it's 50, but it might be more, it might be less, I'm not sure. But let's say it's $50 times 360 payments. This equals $18,000 saved over time. You guys understand? So paying points up front, it's a one-time payment of $6,000. So it's like you invested the $6,000, and your return was pretty much 3 times. So how much did you actually save? Was $12,000 here. You paid $6,000 up front. Over time is $18,000. So minus your initial investment, $12,000 was your actual return on that investment. Not bad, right? You guys understand? Correct. So the actual savings, because then you have to minus your investment, 6,000, and the actual savings was 12. Yeah. But still, think about it. It's a great return. How did I calculate the points? So it's 1%. So the point equals, in this case, 2 points, 2%. So 300,000 times 2% is $6,000. As far as this reduction right here and this number, it's just an assumption. I'm not telling you that that's the difference. I didn't do the calculations if $50 is the difference. I don't know if 2 points would reduce a quarter. I'm just giving you an example of what the bank could tell you. They could tell you, instead of paying 6 1/4, you'll pay 6 if you give me 2 points up front. So if you give an additional amount at time of closing, okay? And that difference could be $50. That was my example. It could be $30. Okay, it's just an example. I'm not sure if it is. What I'm trying to show you is, once you get there, you're going to have the chart. So you would have to calculate how much this is, and then how much this is, and figure out the difference, which could be this. I also have a video on this on YouTube in detail. Ciel is asking, okay, hold on. Courtney's asking, is this only for new mortgage? Yes. Or at time of refinance. Sorry. During the mortgage, you cannot. But if you go refinance, the bank might have an option for that as well. Ciel, can you ask the bank if you could pay up front? They lower the down? You should always ask, and these are the reasons why we go over these things. 1, educate your client, okay? The power of paying points. 2, ask the mortgage loan officer, what are the options? If my client has a little bit more money, could they pay down the interest? Ask. Not all banks do. Not all types of loans allow this offer, right? But why not ask? There's other things that could give you a higher return on the same $6,000, but not everybody's an investor. You see what I'm saying? So go at least with this if it's your lifetime investment. You're not going to do any other investment in your life. Go with this. Or you can always put that into life insurance. At the end, it's going to be almost the same, but at least you have a death benefit attached to it, right, in case something happens. See what I'm saying? So, all right, one of the questions. This is a perfect question, and the reason why upfront points might not make sense right here. Would it make sense if you plan to sell a house in 5 years? No. Of course not. Because now you have to do this. 5 years is 60 months. 50 times 60. Do you think there's enough there to pay for the investment? Is it worth it? No. Got it? So the upfront points only make sense for long term. That's why I said, if you're not going to stay there for that long, put that same amount towards a life insurance policy or towards a annuity or something, some type of program that will be fixed the same. So this will be if you stay in the house, traditionally, yes. It's a long-term investment. That's why I wrote $18,000 in 360 months. Ask your loan officer, most likely yes. It works for all types of loans most of the times. But again, it's based on lender guidelines. It's provided by your lender. Okay. Do we have any other question? Nope. Okay. So I want you to go to the right-hand side. This is easy. This is simple. And it says rate lock. Well, rate lock is very simple. You got pre-approved today. Congratulations. Woohoo, right? Celebrate. We're pre-approved. The lender's going to say you're pre-approved at 5% or pre-approved at 4%, something like that. Right? You have an option to lock the rate. Why? Because rates tend to go up or tend to go down. But if they go up, maybe you cannot afford this anymore. If they go down, it sucks. Because the rate lock protects you if it goes up. But if it goes down, your rate is locked, so you lose. Right? Are you going to be sad if rates go down and can't benefit from it? I prefer to be sad if they go down and I can benefit from it than going up, right? And I gambled it. Josiel, you got a question mark there. What is it? You did not understand the rate lock? Okay. So what I was telling you was, let's say you get pre-approved today for $300,000. They will tell you that it's this type of loan, that type of loan, whatever. But it's at 5%, current market rates, let's say that's at that time, 5%. There's a possibility that rates will go up over the next couple months based on market trends. Good so far? Okay, so based on market trends, rate could go up. So what they ask you is, would you like to lock the rate? And they'll let you lock the rate for the next 30, 45, or 60 days, sometimes even a little bit longer, depending on the lender. If you close within that period of time, then you close at whatever interest rate was the day you got approved. So even if rates went up to 5 to 10%, let's say, you got approved at 5. Guess what? We're closing at 5. That's it. So the rate lock is literally closing, locking the rate today that you got approved. If it goes down, just yell no. If it goes down, it sucks. If we're at 5 and it goes down to 4, you're still paying 5. So the benefit of rate locking is looking at market trends. Like for instance, right now we've been at the all-time low for the past year, right? So the only chance is or odds is for the rates to go up. They did go down a little bit more. They did go up at one point, right? Then they're back down. But if we're an all-time low, that means that there's always the possibility of going up. You got it? You want to lock today at whatever the rate is. So if it's 5%, lock it today. If it's 3%, lock it today. If it's 8%, do not lock. That's a crazy rate, and most likely you'll have a better chance of it going down than going back up. You understand? Jessiel? Okay. What do we got here? Oh, you wrote something. Okay, hold on. 2.8% now. My friend got a loan for her house and she got approved. Great. Did she close? She did? Okay. When did she start looking for houses? That's an amazing rate. Yeah, absolutely. When did she start looking for houses? You don't know? Okay, so it's not a close friend. It's somebody you know. I just want to point out, because then that will be a really bad friend, knowing that you're taking the course, right? You could have been the realtor for the house, and she rushed to close. This is Bruno ending relationships, by the way. All right, guys. So we're gonna be done for today. We'll talk about this. You guys already know PITI. You guys already know principal, interest, tax, and insurance. We just went over an example, right? PITI, principal, interest, tax, and insurance. Tomorrow, we're gonna go into your home loan toolkit and then the actual conventional insured and guaranteed loans. All right. And again, I do take my time here so you understand the difference between what is a conventional loan, what FHA actually is, what VA actually is, and then these loans that could help the majority of your clients that not many people actually research on this. All right. Some of you get out of my class and completely forget it, but roughly 80 to 90% of the United States qualifies for these loans, and not everybody knows. All right, so we're going to go over this tomorrow. Hold on, I got a question here. Any question on this subject? What do you mean, rate lock? Rate lock, yes. PITI, yes. Everything we're going over right now, yes. That's why I'm breaking into 2 days, so we can clearly understand. All right. You guys have any other questions? Hit me with questions now. It's 9:04. Hit me with questions before I close the chat. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. So guys, if there's no further questions, I'll see you tomorrow at 5:30. Make sure you guys reserve questions and enter them right away in the chat when we start. You got the first 10 minutes. Hit me with questions, please. If there's something you did not understand from today's chapter, hit me tomorrow, okay? Natalia, there isn't a lot of math questions on the state test. There's don't worry, we have chapter 22 is strictly math, and I'll make it simpler, okay? But there are up to 8 questions. Okay. At first, so you're clear now, right, Ria? You're good? I did notice she was going like this already, like, oh my God, math, what is this? The good news is that there's 112 questions, I'm sorry, 102 questions that are not math. That's the good news. The bad news is that the math might be the easiest questions. I'm just kidding. All right, guys, no questions? I'll see you tomorrow, 5:30. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.